As the preeminent animation studio of Hollywood, Walt Disney Animation has been around for almost a century, and it holds many secrets within its walls, and more importantly, within its films. These range from Easter eggs for the fans to trivia about the making of the films, to a few that might honestly embarrass the Mouse House if we're being honest. We break down a few of these secrets in this list of 10 secrets that prove there's a lot we don't know about Disney movies. Remember, if you want to see more lists like this, subscribe to our channel and make sure to join our notification squad.
You're doing great.
But before we start, can you guess the movie from these emojis? Stay tuned for the answer at the end of our video.
And I ain't talking, rabbit, and ain't nothing you can do to make me.
Zootopia. Disney movies are often chock full of Easter eggs, and Zootopia is no exception. In addition to the so-called hidden Mickeys, a term used for the inclusion of tiny Mickey Mouses in the animation, Zootopia also features a cameo from the genie's lamp. As you probably know, this is where Robin Williams' genie lives. And his lamp can be found on a shelf in the Naturalist Club that Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde visit in the movie.
Now I know I'm dreaming.
Bambi. Most people have no clue how hard it is to design animated animals. So for the production of Bambi, Walt Disney had a novel idea: bring animals into the studio itself so the animators could use them for reference. For a short time, 2 baby deer found themselves living at the Disney headquarters. Animators were also taken out to see how deer behaved in nature. Clearly, Walt Disney spared no expense on the making of this classic.
Almost there.
Toy Story. When the first Toy Story came out, Tim Allen was riding high as the star of Home Improvement, a popular sitcom about a tool-loving dad and his lovable family. So you can hardly blame Pixar for drawing attention to the hit TV show. When Woody and Buzz are stuck in the house of the evil Sid, Buzz has to push a Binford brand toolbox off the milk crate that Woody is trapped in. And Binford, of course, is Tim Allen's favorite tool brand in Home Improvement. Do the toys of Toy Story exist in the Home Improvement shared universe? Perhaps. The Rescuers. In 1999, Disney recalled 3.4 million VHS copies of the film The Rescuers. The reason? An image of a topless woman had made itself into the print before it was transferred and nobody had noticed. The image appears in 2 frames while the rodents are flying in a sardine can on the back of Orville the albatross. How and when this image came to be included in The Rescuers is still a mystery. Whether or not this incident inspired an infamous plot point in David Fincher's Fight Club is also a matter for debate.
Like splicing single frames of pornography into family film.
So when the snooty cat and the courageous dog with the celebrity voices meet for the first time in Reel 3, that's when you'll catch a flash of Tyler's contribution to the film.
Didn't your parents ever warn you about strangers?
Yes, they did.
Frozen. Kristoff from the Disney movie Frozen apparently ruffled some feathers when he claimed that all men eat their boogers.
What if you hate the way he picks his nose?
Picks his nose?
And eats it.
Excuse me, sir, he is a prince.
All men do it.
Ew.
So much so that Disney included a disclaimer in the film's credits saying, "The views and opinions expressed by Kristoff in the film that all men eat their own boogers are solely his own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or the filmmakers." Well, I'm glad we got that straight.
There is nothing you can't do, kid.
Hercules. You ever wonder what happened to the bad guy from The Lion King? Well, the movie Hercules might hold a hint. In a scene where Hercules wears the scalp of a lion on his own head, a closer look reveals that the lion is none other than Scar himself. Hercules wears it as a symbol of his own power, and frankly, it looks pretty good. Of course, if it is Scar, that would mean The Lion King takes place prior to ancient Greece, so maybe we shouldn't read too much into this inside joke.
Oh, okay.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Does the old heretic from Notre Dame look familiar to you? The one who was freed from the cage only to find himself locked in a stockade. Well, that's because he's got the same design as Jafar when he disguises himself as an old man in Aladdin.
Things aren't always what they seem.
Was this done on purpose? Who knows? Disney animators have been known to recycle old character designs to save time and energy. Still, it would be funny to think that Jafar may have found himself locked up and powerless in his old age. Moana. Last year's Moana paid tribute to Disney's history in an interesting way. When Maui uses his magic, he takes Moana into a 2-dimensional world where many underwater creatures swim across the screen in a colorful display of Disney's animation prowess. And guess who makes a cameo in this scene? None other than the Little Mermaid's Flounder, one of Disney's most famous underwater characters, swimming with the best of them.
That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just
sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
Robin Hood. Disney is no stranger to reusing old animation cells, but we won't hold that against them. For example, let's look at Robin Hood. This movie was a pretty low-budget effort from the Mouse House, so the animators took animations from a few previous movies, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, The Jungle Book, and the AristoCats to be exact. In fact, if you look closely, Robin Hood's Little John looks awfully similar to The Jungle Book's Baloo. Inside Out. Some people abide by the theory that all of the Pixar films take place in one shared universe, but if you want to convince someone of this idea, you might want to take a look at this one scene from Inside Out. When the film flashed back to Riley's memories from Minnesota and she imagines the floor is lava while playing in the living room, you can spot a magazine with Colette from Ratatouille on the cover of it. Coincidence? We think not. Obviously, Colette is a beloved and well-loved chef in the world of Inside Out, and that poor rat still isn't getting the respect he deserves. That's all for this list, but be sure to subscribe to the Screen Rant channel and sign up for the notification squad.